You know what's fascinating? Behind every personality type, behind every confident exterior and every carefully crafted persona, there's a fear. A secret fear that keeps you up at night. A whisper in the back of your mind that you rarely share with anyone. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden fears of all 16 MBTI personality types. And here's the thing, understanding your fear isn't about wallowing in it. It's about recognizing it, facing it, and ultimately conquering it. Because once you know what you're truly afraid of, you can start doing something about it. So wherever you are right now, whatever type you identify with, I want you to listen closely. This isn't just about labeling your fear, it's about freeing yourself from it. Let's begin. ISTJ, the fear of chaos and irrelevance. ISTJ, you're the backbone of society. You're reliable, methodical, and incredibly dedicated. But deep down, you're terrified of two things: losing control of your carefully ordered world, and becoming obsolete in a rapidly changing society. You lie awake wondering if your tried-and-true methods will still matter tomorrow. You fear that the rules you've followed, the systems you've mastered, will crumble, leaving you lost in chaos. Even worse, you're afraid that one day, your contributions will be overlooked, that your hard work will be dismissed as outdated. But here's what you need to hear: your ability to create structure in chaos is timeless. Yes, the world changes, but the need for people who can build solid foundations never goes away. Your fear of irrelevance is actually proof of your commitment to growth. Channel that fear into adaptability. Learn new systems while honoring your strengths. You're not becoming obsolete, you're evolving into something even more powerful. ISFJ, the fear of letting others down. ISFJ, you carry the weight of everyone else's happiness on your shoulders. Your secret fear. That despite everything you do, you'll fail the people who depend on you. You're terrified of being seen as selfish, inadequate, or unreliable. You replay conversations in your mind, wondering if you said the wrong thing, if you gave enough, if you were there when someone needed you. The thought of disappointing others feels unbearable because your identity is so deeply tied to being the person everyone can count on. Listen to me, your worth is not measured by how much you sacrifice. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness. The people who truly value you don't keep a scorecard of your contributions. Your fear of letting others down often means you're letting yourself down by ignoring your own needs. True service comes from a full cup, not an empty one. Take care of yourself first, and watch how your ability to help others multiplies. INFJ, the fear of being truly seen. INFJ, you're the mysterious idealist, the counselor, the visionary. But beneath that wise exterior, you're terrified of being truly known. You fear that if people saw the real you, the messy, uncertain, imperfect you, they'd be disappointed or, worse, they'd leave. You've built walls made of insights about others, deflecting attention from your own vulnerability. You're afraid that your dreams are too idealistic, that your sensitivity is too much, that the real you doesn't live up to the image others have created. Here's your truth: the version of you that you're hiding is exactly what the world needs to see. Your vulnerability is your superpower, not your weakness. The people meant for you will love you more when you let them in, not less. Your authenticity will attract your tribe. Stop being the counselor who never gets counseled. Let yourself be seen, messy parts and all. That's where real connection begins. INTJ, the fear of incompetence and emotional vulnerability. INTJ, you've built your life on competence, strategy, and intellectual mastery. Your nightmare. Being exposed as incompetent or, perhaps even more terrifying, being overwhelmed by emotions you can't control or understand. You fear asking for help because it feels like admitting weakness. You're terrified of situations where logic doesn't provide answers, where you have to rely on feelings or intuition without a clear framework. The thought of failing publicly or making a decision based on emotion rather than analysis keeps you up at night. But here's what you're missing: true intelligence includes emotional intelligence. Your fear of incompetence is actually preventing you from reaching your full potential because you're avoiding the one area where you could grow the most. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. Admitting you don't know something is the first step to knowing everything. Your emotions aren't obstacles to your logic, they're data points you haven't learned to read yet. Master this, and you'll be unstoppable. ISTP, the fear of being trapped. ISTP, you're the ultimate free spirit, the hands-on problem solver who needs space to breathe. Your deepest fear? Being trapped, whether in a relationship, a job, a commitment, or an expectation that suffocates your independence. You panic at the thought of losing your autonomy, of being boxed into a life that doesn't allow for spontaneity and exploration. You're afraid of being tied down by obligations that drain your freedom, of waking up one day and realizing you've built a cage around yourself. Here's what you need to understand: freedom and commitment aren't opposites. You can have deep connections and still maintain your independence. The trap isn't in the commitment, it's in choosing commitments that don't align with who you are. Stop running from everything that requires dedication. Instead, be selective. Choose people and paths that honor your need for space while building something meaningful. Real freedom comes from intentional choices, not from avoiding all choices. ISFP, the fear of losing your identity. ISFP, you're the artist, the gentle soul who sees beauty everywhere. But you're terrified of losing yourself, of conforming so much to others' expectations that you can no longer recognize who you are. You fear that the world will force you into a mold, that your uniqueness will be crushed by societal pressures, that you'll wake up one day having lived someone else's life instead of your own. The thought of becoming ordinary, of losing your creative spark, haunts you. Listen carefully, your fear of losing yourself is actually your soul fighting to keep you authentic. That discomfort you feel when you're not being true to yourself. That's your internal compass working perfectly. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs the original you. Your sensitivity isn't something to hide, it's your greatest gift. Stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. The right people will celebrate your uniqueness, not suppress it. Stay weird. Stay you. INFP, the fear of a meaningless existence. INFP, you're the idealistic dreamer who believes in something bigger. Your secret terror? That your life will amount to nothing meaningful, that you'll never fulfill your potential, that your dreams will remain forever out of reach. You're afraid of settling for mediocrity, of compromising your values, of looking back on your life and realizing you played it safe instead of pursuing your purpose. The gap between who you are and who you want to be keeps you awake, anxious, and sometimes paralyzed. Here's your wake-up call: meaning isn't found, it's created. Every single day, you choose whether your life has meaning by the actions you take and the values you uphold. Your fear of meaninglessness is actually your purpose calling you forward. Stop waiting for permission to be extraordinary. Stop expecting some magical moment when everything aligns perfectly. The meaning you're searching for exists in the small, brave choices you make every day. Start now. Start messy. Start imperfectly. But start. INTP, the fear of being fundamentally wrong. INTP, you live in your mind, constantly analyzing, theorizing, and questioning everything. Your greatest fear? That your entire framework for understanding the world is fundamentally flawed, that you've missed something obvious, that your logic has led you astray. You're terrified of building your life on faulty assumptions, of confidently asserting something only to be proven catastrophically wrong. The thought of intellectual humiliation, of having your reasoning exposed as incomplete, sends chills down your spine. But here's the paradox: your fear of being wrong is what makes you more likely to be right. Your constant questioning and self-doubt are signs of intellectual honesty, not weakness. The people who never fear being wrong are usually the ones who are wrong most often. Being wrong isn't failure, it's how we learn. Every mistake is just a course correction on the path to truth. Embrace uncertainty. Share your theories even when they're incomplete. Your willingness to be wrong publicly is what will ultimately make you wise. ESTP, the fear of missing out and irrelevance. ESTP, you're the action-oriented adventurer who lives in the moment. But secretly, you're terrified of missing out on life's best experiences and becoming irrelevant or boring as you age. You fear being sidelined, losing your edge, watching life pass you by while you're stuck in routine. The thought of becoming predictable or losing your ability to seize opportunities fills you with dread. You're afraid that one day, the party will go on without you. Here's your truth: the best experiences aren't always the loudest ones. You're not missing out, you're just evolving. Your fear of irrelevance is actually your growth calling you toward deeper experiences. There's a difference between living fully and living frantically. You can maintain your adventurous spirit while building something lasting. Depth doesn't mean boring, it means meaningful. The most interesting people aren't those who've done everything, they're those who've truly experienced something. Quality over quantity. Presence over perpetual motion. ESFP, the fear of being unloved and forgotten. ESFP, you're the life of the party, the person who lights up every room. But underneath that vibrant exterior, you're desperately afraid of being unloved, unappreciated, or forgotten when you're not around. You fear that people only like you for the entertainment you provide, not for who you truly are. You're terrified that if you stop performing, stop being on, people will lose interest. The thought of being alone or overlooked is almost unbearable. Listen to this: you are not your performance. The real you, the person behind the smile, the one who sometimes feels tired or sad or uncertain, is the person worth loving. Your fear of being forgotten reveals something beautiful: your deep desire for genuine connection. Stop performing for people's approval and start showing up as yourself. The right people will love you on your quiet days as much as your loud ones. Your value isn't in what you do for others, it's in who you are. You're memorable not because you're entertaining, but because you're authentic. ENFP, the fear of losing potential and being trapped. ENFP, you're the enthusiastic visionary with a million ideas and possibilities. Your deepest fear? That you'll choose the wrong path and lose all your other potential, or that you'll get trapped in a life that suffocates your spirit. You're terrified of commitment because every choice feels like closing a door on 1,000 other beautiful possibilities. You fear becoming boring, predictable, or stuck in a routine that drains your creativity and passion. The thought of unfulfilled potential haunts you. Here's what you need to hear: every path you choose opens up new possibilities you can't see yet. You're not losing potential by committing, you're actualizing it. Potential means nothing if it stays potential forever. Your fear of choosing wrong is keeping you from choosing at all, and that's the only real mistake. You can't experience every life, but you can fully experience the one you choose. Depth in one direction creates more richness than surface-level exploration in every direction. Pick something. Go deep. Trust that your chosen path will be as magical as you are. ENTP, the fear of stagnation and being controlled. ENTP, you're the innovative debater who thrives on intellectual challenge. Your secret fear? Mental stagnation, becoming boring, predictable, or controlled by systems and people who limit your potential. You're terrified of being boxed in by convention, of losing your mental sharpness, of waking up one day and realizing you've stopped growing. The thought of being controlled or manipulated by others fills you with existential dread. You fear becoming intellectually complacent. Here's your reality check: growth isn't always about exploring new territory, sometimes it's about mastering what you've already discovered. Your fear of stagnation often keeps you from building anything lasting. You're so busy running from boredom that you miss the profound learning that comes from persistence. Some cages are self-imposed. You're not being controlled, you're avoiding structure because it feels like control. True freedom comes from choosing your constraints wisely. Commitment to one thing doesn't limit you, it focuses your brilliance. Stop running and start building. ESTJ, the fear of failure and loss of control. ESTJ, you're the efficient organizer, the person who gets things done. But you're secretly terrified of failure, of losing control of your environment, and of being seen as incompetent or ineffective. You fear chaos and disorder because they represent loss of control. You're afraid that if you're not constantly managing everything, it will all fall apart. The thought of failing publicly or being unable to deliver on your promises keeps you in a state of perpetual vigilance. But here's the truth: control is an illusion. The tighter you grip, the more exhausted you become. Your fear of failure is actually preventing your greatest successes because you're only attempting things you know you can control. Real leadership isn't about controlling everything, it's about trusting others and adapting when things don't go as planned. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the process. Let go a little. Trust the people around you. Your value isn't in your ability to control outcomes, it's in your ability to navigate uncertainty with integrity. ESFJ, the fear of rejection and social disconnection. ESFJ, you're the warm-hearted caregiver who creates harmony everywhere. But you're deeply afraid of rejection, social exclusion, and not being needed or valued by your community. You fear criticism and conflict because they threaten the social harmony you work so hard to create. You're terrified that if you set boundaries or say no, people will think you're selfish and pull away. The thought of being left out or not belonging is almost unbearable. Here's what you must understand: people-pleasing isn't the same as genuine connection. Your fear of rejection is making you accept relationships that don't serve you. The people who matter will respect your boundaries, not resent them. You cannot create authentic community by constantly sacrificing yourself. Real belonging comes when you show up as yourself, needs and all. You are valuable not because of what you do for others, but because of who you are. Stop earning love. Start accepting it. ENFJ, the fear of failing your purpose. ENFJ, you're the charismatic leader who inspires others toward their potential. But secretly, you're terrified of failing in your life's purpose, of not making the impact you're meant to make, of letting down everyone who believes in you. You fear that you're not doing enough, that your efforts aren't making a real difference, that you'll look back and see wasted potential. The weight of your own expectations and others' expectations crushes you more than you let on. Listen closely: your purpose isn't fragile, and it doesn't require perfection. You're already making a difference, you just can't always see it. Your fear of failing others often means you're failing yourself by ignoring your own needs. You can't pour from an empty cup. Real leadership includes self-leadership. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's sustainable. Your impact isn't measured by how much you sacrifice, it's measured by the authenticity and sustainability of your service. You're already enough. Now rest in that truth. ENTJ, the fear of weakness and powerlessness. ENTJ, you're the strategic commander who turns visions into reality. But deep down, you're terrified of weakness, powerlessness, and being at the mercy of forces you can't control. You fear incompetence in yourself and others. You're afraid of vulnerability because it feels like giving away power. The thought of being dependent on others or being unable to influence outcomes creates a deep anxiety you rarely show. Here's your uncomfortable truth: your fear of weakness is your greatest weakness. True power includes the ability to be vulnerable, to ask for help, to admit when you don't have all the answers. The leaders people remember aren't the ones who never showed weakness, they're the ones who showed humanity. Your relationships suffer because you're so busy protecting yourself from powerlessness that you don't let people in. Strength without vulnerability isn't strength, it's armor. And armor is heavy. Real power comes from integrating all aspects of yourself, including the parts that feel weak. That's when you become truly unstoppable. So there you have it, the secret fears of all 16 personality types. And here's what I want you to take away from this: your fear isn't your enemy. It's a compass pointing you toward your growth edge, toward the very thing you need to integrate to become whole. Every single one of these fears is valid. But none of them has to define you. You can acknowledge your fear, understand where it comes from, and then choose to act despite it. That's courage. Not the absence of fear, but action in the face of it. Whatever type you are, wherever you're watching this from, I want you to know, you're not alone in your fear. But you also don't have to stay stuck in it. Recognition is the first step. Understanding is the second. And action, brave, imperfect action, is the third. So what will you do today to face your fear? What small step can you take toward the person you want to become? Don't wait for the fear to go away. It might never fully disappear. But you can learn to walk alongside it, to thank it for trying to protect you, and then to move forward anyway. You've got this. Now go out there and show your fear who's really in charge. If this resonated with you, drop your personality type in the comments and tell me which fear hit closest to home. And if you found this valuable, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Until next time, keep growing, keep facing your fears, and keep becoming the person you were meant to be.